So what should come after reducing bill limits in the California legislature? Well, with the advent of the 2025 legislative session, we've seen a substantial decrease in the number of bills by the state assembly. Thank you, Speaker Robert Rivas, and a reduction also by the Senate. Thank you, Pro Tem McGuire. I also hope some additional things can change. So what are they? First, in light of, in theory, considering fewer bills, many would like to see the standing policy committees doing away with the so-called 2 and 2 rule for 2 minutes each. So even if a cap on the number of principal witnesses were to remain, but hopefully increasing it maybe to 3 or even 4, I think that the 2 minute limitation is unwarranted. Legislators should hear from experts and those engaged individuals and raise questions and engage in debate. Witnesses should be admonished from providing duplicative testimony, but 4, maybe even maximum 5 minutes would allow far more information to be provided and discussed. And hopefully that additional substantive testimony would elicit more discussion and debate among the committee members. The second thing is that, most witnesses are unlikely to either need that much time or really likely to use it. But at this stage, with a 2 minute rule, witnesses really are just speedily running through truncated testimony, and very little question or debate is actually occurring. So I think it would be far better to know that a witness can share their desired information without the clock so quickly running out. The purpose of these legislative committee hearings is to hear from experts and those conveying substantive information, and hopefully legislators engaging those witnesses as well as their colleagues so that they get as much information before casting their votes. The second main thing that folks would like to see in the capital community is doing away with so-called courtesy votes, especially in the first house and in the first year of the legislative session, when, of course, bills introduced in the first year or the odd-numbered year can continue on as 2-year bills in the second or even numbered year. Policy committees, again, are supposed to discuss and debate and fine-tune proposed new laws instead of simply moving them along and just being a cog in the legislative process. If bills aren't ready for prime time, as the saying goes, then they shouldn't proceed until they are readily. Uh, and maybe with fewer bills and more time, then maybe there are fewer works in progress that need to get moved along. Third thing is, and for someone who knows and views the lawmaking process as twofold, a number of folks think that legislators will have and hopefully utilize more time in committee to do really the other part of their lawmaking job, which is oversight and investigation. In other words, the power given to the legislature by Article 1, Section 1, the lawmaking power, is not just limited to simply enacting new laws. Part of exercising that lawmaking authority is to also give time and attention to actions of executive branch regulatory agencies and departments. And in that regard, legislators can examine how those rulemaking entities are implementing, interpreting, enforcing, and making specific the statutes that have been enacted by the legislature. Now, I'm sure that there are other proposals to improve the legislative process in this state, but these are two important ones with hopefully the benefit of lower bill limits actually taking effect more likely in the 2026 California legislative session.